Is it just me, or does your family's house feel smaller after you've been gone for years? Not like physically smaller. I'm not confused about how houses work. But when you return after such a long time, everything you remembered just feels different. Maybe that's just me. Anyway, this isn't a happy story, and I'm not looking for advice. I just needed to put this somewhere. Honestly, I want people to see how some families really behave. Buckle up, I guess. So, here's the background. I'm Lucas, 27. Not a kid anymore. I left home when I was about 20. What was supposed to be a short stint away turned into something much longer. I stayed in touch at first. My family was always big on energy. My mom's all about crystals, yoga, and that whole manifest good vibes routine. Not the huggy type, but I got used to it. My stepdad, Todd, was always in the background, did his own thing. But after he married my mom, every conversation seemed to revolve around protecting peace. My stepsister, Maya, who's 21 now, was always on her phone and barely acknowledged me after I moved out. For a while, I sent money home. Groceries covered half the phone bill, helped with repairs when stuff broke. Nothing major, but I thought, that's just what you do. Calls from home became less frequent, but I always made sure to let them know when I was coming back, even if it was just a couple weeks' notice. This time, I texted, called, and emailed. Got a thumbs-up emoji from Maya, nothing from Mom. Todd just wrote, "Sounds good. Cool, right?" So, after all this time, I finally return. It's late, almost midnight, my flight delayed. I'm standing outside the house with my old duffel bag and a carry-on. The first thing I notice is my name written on a sign, taped to a suitcase, just sitting on the porch, not even under the awning. It's covered in rain splatters. I'm not dramatic, but I pause, wondering if I'm at the wrong house. The porch light is off, which is strange because they always left it on for energy flow or whatever. I ring the bell. No answer. I knock. Nothing. I pull out my phone and text Maya. "Hey, I'm here." I see the read receipt, but no reply. After a minute, I try the door. It's unlocked. I step inside, and the house smells like incense and lemon cleaner, which is new. The lights are on in the kitchen, and Todd is sitting at the table scrolling on his phone, like I'm just an Amazon delivery guy. I say, "Hey." He glances up and says, "Your stuff's outside. We're full up." Not even a welcome back, not a "how was the trip?" Just that. I don't even know what to say, so I stand there, waiting for someone else to show up. Maya walks out, barely glances at me and says, "Mom's upstairs. She wanted to see you before you go." Like I'm just a UPS package or something. Todd doesn't even look up. I go up to my old room, and honestly, I feel kind of nervous. Don't know why, but it just feels wrong. I reach my door, and there's a handwritten sign taped over my old Keep Out poster. It says in my mom's handwriting, "Storage room, no access." All in caps, underlined twice. I try the handle. It's locked. I knock. Nothing. Mom finally comes out of her room, wearing a robe, her hair wrapped up. She barely looks at me and hands me a small envelope, like one you get at a hotel. "Here's your voucher," she says. "You'll have to stay at the Cedar Lodge. Tonight. We moved on. We don't need your issues poisoning the energy in this house." She doesn't even seem mad, just tired, like I'm just a problem to be solved. I ask, "Can I at least see my room?" She says, "It's a storage space now. You can't bring your negativity in here. It took years to get this house peaceful. You've been gone for years, Lucas. We've moved on. Don't make this harder." Then she turns around and walks back into her room. The door clicks shut behind her. I stand there for a second, not sure what to do. I knock again. Nothing. I ask, "Can I get some of my stuff?" Nothing. Maya comes upstairs, steps around me like I'm blocking the hallway, and says, "You're making this weird." She pushes past me and slams her door. I just stand there, staring at the sign. I go back downstairs. Todd hasn't moved. I ask if I can crash on the couch for the night, and he says, "No, That's where I do my stretching in the morning. Legit, that's it. I ask, what happened to my room? He says, storage. I ask if my stuff is still there, and he says, we gave you what you need. I ask what that means, and he shrugs. Then he gets up, grabs his water bottle, and walks past me to the garage door, slamming it behind him. I'm standing there in the kitchen with the lights way too bright, my bag outside in the wet, holding a motel voucher and feeling like I'm some random guy who wandered into the wrong house. I grab my bag, check that nothing's missing, and walk off the porch. I look back, and the porch light goes out, immediately, not even subtle. I get to the motel, check in. The lady at the desk doesn't even ask for ID because apparently my mom called ahead and told them I'd be coming. So, I guess they planned this. That's the night I keep replaying in my head, wondering if I missed some sign, but no. This is just how they are now. Mom's been all about high vibes for years, and I think she decided anyone who doesn't buy into it 100% is bad energy. Todd never really liked me, always wanted his own space, and now he has it. Maya? I don't even know. She's just in her own world. They always acted like I was too much when I was a kid, so I'm not shocked, but I didn't expect this. I texted a couple of high school friends, but no one even lives in town anymore. So, I crashed at the motel that night. The next morning, I decided to go back and ask for my stuff, but I'll get to that in another post because, trust me, that's a whole other can of worms. Honestly, this post is already way too long. Not really sure what I'm supposed to do now, but I'm not just going to let this go. Not after all that. I'm not going to sit around and mope about it. That's not me. If they want to play cold, I can play colder. I'll update once I get my head straight and figure out what comes next. Update 1. Alright, so I said I'd update, and yeah, it's been a couple of days since I posted. To be honest, I didn't sleep much at the motel. I kept waking up, trying to figure out if I was overreacting or if this whole situation is as messed up as it feels. I know Reddit's got all kinds of stories, but honestly, this is just what happened. You can decide if it's insane or just regular family stuff. Now, I'll try not to ramble. The next morning, after the whole porch incident, I head back to the house. I'm telling myself maybe they were just tired. Maybe it was the timing, and maybe if I stay chill, they'll open the door and we'll talk things through. I get there, and the car's gone. So, I figure they're out, but I knock anyway. Nothing. Then, I check the side gate, and it's open, which is weird because my mom is really strict about boundaries. I walk around to the back and peek through the kitchen window. I see someone, moving around inside. It's Maya, headphones on, sitting at the table with her laptop. I tap the glass. She ignores me. I stand there like an idiot for a sec, then decide to just let myself in. You know, I still had a key, and it still worked. Maya looks up, takes off her headphones, and says, "You should have texted first." I tell her I did. She says she was busy, then she just gets up and leaves the kitchen. Just like that. I hear her head upstairs. I start to follow, but then Todd comes in from the garage, yoga mat under his arm, wearing socks with sandals. So him, which is kind of funny, except it's not. He stops, stares at me for a sec, like he's waiting for me to apologize. I ask if I can go to my room. He says, "It's not your room anymore. It's storage. Take what's yours and go." I ask if I can at least look inside, but he says, no. Then he adds that Mom doesn't want disruptions and I should respect her wishes. I ask what happened to all my stuff, and he points to the garage. So I head out there. There are like 3 boxes with my name written on them in Sharpie. I open them. There's some random clothes, old chargers, a photo album, and a couple of books. That's it. I ask where my laptop is, and he says Maya uses it now for college. I ask about my old phone, headphones, tablet. You get the idea. He just shrugs and says, "It's been years, Lucas. You basically left it all behind." I tell him that's not how it works, but he just walks away, says he's got things to do. The door slams behind him. I go back inside, trying to talk to Mom. Her door's closed, but I knock anyway. She says through the door that she's meditating. I tell her, I just want to talk. She says she'll talk later if I come back tomorrow with better intentions. I say, I just want my stuff. She says I'm fixating on it, and that's why. I don't fit the energy. I can hear her voice getting sharper every time I try, but she won't open the door. So I go back downstairs. Maya comes out of her room, sees me, rolls her eyes. I try to ask her about my stuff, and she goes off about how I can't just drop in and take over, how the house is finally calm since I've been gone, and how I never fit in anyway. She says I always made things tense, that Mom's been happier, and that I should just move on like everyone else. I tell her I just want what's mine. She says, it's just stuff, Lucas. You act like it's life or death. I can't even explain how crazy it is to hear your own family talk like you're just a random roommate who overstayed. Not even exaggerating. I go outside for air, sit on the steps, and call my aunt. She lives a town over and used to be close. She picks up, but basically just tells me she doesn't want to get in the middle of it. Says I should let things settle, then changes the subject. So I start checking my accounts to see what's up, and that's when things get even messier. I notice a few weird charges over the past few months, things like grocery deliveries and household stuff, all billed to my old joint account with my mom. I call the bank, and the guy tells me the account is still active, my name's still on it, and someone's been using the card for autopay on 5 different utilities. I lock the card right then, not out of spite, but because, honestly, it's my name, my money, and they never even asked me. I text Maya about it. She sends back a shrug emoji and says, ask Mom. So I text Mom. She calls me petty and says I'm making things hostile. I tell her it's my money. She says, we needed it. You weren't here. You never said not to. Then she blocks me. At this point, I'm livid, not even going to lie. I go back inside, and Todd's at the table. I tell him I locked the card. He says I'm being dramatic, that they needed it to keep the house running, that I abandoned them. I tell him he can't just steal from me. He says it's not stealing if it's family. I tell him, not anymore. And that's when he stands up, gets right in my face, and tells me I need to leave. I refuse. He pushes past me, grabs my arm, and tries to walk me out. I pull away, telling him not to touch me, and he snaps, you're just like your dad. That's a whole other story, but yeah, definitely not a compliment. I tell him to back off. He goes to the front door, opens it, and tells me to get out before he calls the cops. I grab the boxes and, on my way out, slam the door so hard it rattles the glass. I hear Maya yell something upstairs, but I don't catch it. So now I've got 3 boxes, no laptop, half my stuff missing, my money drained, and my own family acting like I'm the villain for wanting basic respect. I call the bank again, set a new password, lock all my accounts, change all my info. I check the house record because, yeah, I helped buy it back in the day, and my name's still on the paperwork. Guess they needed my credit to refinance. They never told me, not even a text. Just used my info and figured I'd never check. So, that's where I'm at now. I'm not just letting this slide. I'm not going to blow up or do something illegal, but if they want to treat me like an outsider, I can play that game better than them. I'm already talking to someone about what to do with my share of the house, and if they think I'm just going to fade away, they're about to get a real wake-up call. They don't want me in their lives? Fine. Let's see how they do without. My bad energy and my name on their bills. I'll update again once I figure out my next step. But trust, I'm not just walking away from this. They want a peaceful house? They're about to find out what real disruption feels like. Update 2. Okay, this is where things went from family drama to actual rage. I'm not trying to be dramatic, just telling it straight up. First thing that keeps bugging me is how Maya just shrugged off the fact that I was missing half my stuff and how Todd acted like I was some squatter. The way my mom's voice went cold as soon as I talked about anything other than good vibes. But I couldn't shake this one thought. Why was my name still on all the bills? Why was my credit still getting pinged from their address? I figured they'd have at least tried to take me off if they hated me so much, right? So I started digging, spent a couple of hours on the phone, calling the power company, the bank, the insurance, all that. I was on hold forever, but I got through. Turns out, not only is my name still on the utilities, but I'm still part owner of the actual house deed. Like my name's still on it, not just as a co-signer, but literally still on the title. I remember helping with the down payment, but I figured they'd have refinanced ages ago. Except, nope, they didn't. Looks like they needed my credit to get approved and just left it as is. I check my email and see a notice about property taxes. I click through, and sure enough, bills, in my name and my mom's. I'm not even living there, and I'm still on the hook. So now, I'm not just mad, I'm furious. What else did they use my info for? I check my credit report, and sure enough, there's a couple of things I don't recognize tied to that address. Nothing that'll totally tank me, but enough to make me angry. I text my mom about the situation, and she calls me, her voice all fake calm. She says I'm overreacting, that it's not personal, and that I never told her to take me off the account. Besides, she says, we needed it to keep things going. I tell her that's not how this works. She keeps repeating that I left them, and now I'm making things hostile. I remind her, you literally kicked me out. She sighs and says, I always bring drama. I hang up. I call a realtor. No joke, I just Google one with good reviews and set up a meeting downtown. I tell him I'm on the deed, but don't live there and want to know my options. He says, if you want out, you can force a sale or make them buy you out. I'm like, great, let's start the process. He asks if I want to give them a heads up. I say, yeah, I'll give them a chance to talk to me like adults. So I go back to the house, knock on the door. Todd answers and just glares at me, not even moving to let me in. I say I need to talk. He says I can talk from the porch. I tell him I know about the deed, the bills, the taxes, all of it, and that I'm not going to keep being used. I say they have two options, buy me out or I force a sale. He goes red, actually steps outside, gets right up in my face and says I'm trying to ruin their lives, that I'm selfish, that I abandoned them, and now I want to take their home. I tell him, you're not going to guilt me. This is business. Now. He tries to block me from leaving, so I just push past him and he grabs my shoulder and tries to shove me back. I tell him to get his hands off me and he lets go, threatening to call the cops. I tell him, go ahead, I'm the owner. 2. As I'm walking away, I hear Maya at the window yelling that I'm toxic and ruining everything. I just laugh and keep walking. Half an hour later, my mom calls, her voice shaking, trying to sound reasonable. She says we should work this out, that I don't understand the position I'm putting them in. I say, you put yourself here. She starts crying, says I'm destroying the family. I tell her, you destroyed it the night you left my stuff, on the porch. I go back to the realtor and tell him to move forward. He says he'll start the paperwork, get the place appraised, and send the family notice. Within a day, I get a barrage of texts from Maya, all caps, stuff like, how could you? And Mom's having a breakdown, and you're just doing this for revenge. I don't even answer. Then Todd calls, says I'm making things worse for everyone, that he'll sue me for abandonment of property, which isn't even a thing. I Google it, and he threatens to make this ugly. I tell him, you already did. He hangs up. The next day, a notice goes up in the mailbox from the realtor. My mom calls me, her voice trembling, says they can't afford to buy me out, can't move, Maya's in school, everything will fall apart. I tell her, not my problem anymore. The best part, when the realtor starts the process, word gets out to some of my mom's wellness clients. She does group classes in the living room. Honestly, I never got it. Anyway, they all cancel, and my mom starts posting vague Facebook statuses about family betrayal and bad energy poisoning the home. People start dropping off, and I see it, because my cousin sends me screenshots. The family chat is blowing up. My aunt texts me asking if it's true that I'm selling the house. I just reply, "Yeah, it's true. They left me no choice." Now the house is getting appraised. The realtor's got the paperwork, and my family's panicking. Todd's stress posting about ungrateful kids on his socials. Maya's DMing me, acting like I'm the villain in some TV show, and my mom is acting like I'm the one who broke everything. I'm not even mad at this point. Just done. They wanted me gone? This is what gone looks like. No more free credit. No more bills in my name. No more bad energy to blame everything on. Now they're the ones feeling the heat. I'm not letting, up until they face me for once instead of hiding behind energy and excuses. I'll update when the next shoe drops. If they thought they could just use me and lock the door, they seriously underestimated how far I'm willing to go. Final update. The weirdest part. How quiet everything gets right before people panic. It's almost like you can feel it through your phone. 0 texts for a few days, then suddenly every app blows up. Missed calls, long paragraphs, caps lock apologies, everything. I thought they'd put up more of a fight. But once the sales stuff started moving, it was like the whole family snapped at once. The realtor puts the sign out front, which I guess was the final straw. The first text I get is from Maya. Just a string of question marks, then a selfie of her crying, followed by another wall of text about how I'm ruining her life and she can't focus on finals. I leave it on read. Todd calls twice, then leaves. A voicemail saying I'm not thinking clearly, that I'm tearing down everything they built, and that he's not afraid to take this to court. I just forward it to the realtor. My mom goes full wellness cult mode. Suddenly, every message is about forgiveness, second chances, how the universe wants us to heal together. She's posting those fake deep quotes on Facebook and tagging me in, them. Stuff about how family is forever unless you let anger in. I mute her. She texts again, says they can't afford to move, that her business is tanking, that people are gossiping about family troubles, and she's losing clients. I scroll through the messages, and it's honestly wild to watch someone flip from stone cold to desperate in a week. Meanwhile, the group chat with aunts and cousins is blowing up with everyone picking sides. My aunt is half on my side, half just mad that now Thanksgiving is going to be awkward. My cousin sends me screenshots of Maya's rants on Instagram. Her whole bad energy drove my brother out thing, trying to make it sound like she's the victim. Whatever, but here's the thing, I'm not even mad anymore. I'm just done. I spent too long letting them walk all over me, acting like I was just some ghost floating around the house, only good for wiring money. Now they're actually feeling what it's like when the person holding up the bridge lets go. Not my problem, if they can't swim. On the day of the appraisal, Todd actually tries to block the door when the guy shows up. He calls me and says, if I want to see real consequences, I should keep pushing. I tell him to let the appraiser in or I'll call the cops for interfering with the legal process. He backs off. Later, I hear from my cousin that Mom's wellness friends are canceling sessions, and she started doing remote healing on Zoom because no one wants to come to the house. Maya's blowing up my phone with, "You're ruining my future and I can't believe you're this selfish." I block her. About 2 weeks after the sign goes up, I start getting messages from numbers I don't even have saved. People from my mom's group asking me to reconsider for her sake. Not a chance. I get a DM from an old neighbor asking if it's true that I'm kicking them out. I just reply, they kicked me out first, then block them. Finally, after like a month of radio silence from me, my mom sends this mega text, basically an essay, about how they didn't mean it, how she was just protecting her peace, and that I was so angry when I came home, she didn't know what to do. She says she's scared, that she'll do anything to make it right, that she misses her son. Then Todd tries to call, then Maya, then my aunt, then my mom again, all within an hour. It's just pathetic at this point. I pick up once just to get it over with. I let them talk for a minute. Mom's crying, Todd's saying, "We'll find a way to pay you out." Maya's begging me not to do this. I just say, "You threw me. Out like trash. Now stay out of my life. Then hang up. When the sale finally closes, they have to move out. I take my share. Not a huge windfall, but enough to start over. I move to a different city, get a new number, and delete my old socials. My cousin's the only one who still talks to me. I told her if anyone tries to show up, I'll call the landlord. So, yeah, that's how it ends. No one wins, not really, but at least I'm not stuck in a family where energy is an excuse to use people until they have nothing left. I don't have some big lesson or anything. Just, if someone shows you what you mean to them, believe them. And if they treat you like garbage, maybe it's time they learn what happens when you take out the trash.